Hi, everyone. Welcome to ProjectPro's industry podcast, where we talk with industry, data science, and AI leaders on their careers and use cases. Today, we have with us Siddharth. Siddharth is a principal data scientist at Fidelity Investments. Siddharth has almost 10 years experience, both as a software developer and as a senior data scientist. Siddharth, thank you so much for taking time to do this.
Thank you, Binny. Thanks a lot for inviting me here.
Sure, Siddharth. So Siddharth, it'll be, your profile, right? When you started your career, you started off as a software developer, and then you transition into a data scientist. I think there are a lot of people who are listening to this podcast right now who ideally want to do a similar career path. Could you maybe help us understand how did you make the transition, uh, and what worked for you?
I will quickly share my journey, how I started. So right after college, I joined Fidelity Investments, and ever since I have been part of this company. It's a great company.
Mm-hmm.
Now, initially when I started, I was on the .NET side. I was working as a .NET developer. Then slowly within the team, my career changed, and I was more on the data side. So I would work on the Oracle, DB2, and the ETL. So I was very much close with the data and finding insights from that. Because I worked a lot there, so I was pretty good at SQLs and these things.
Mm-hmm.
Then that was the time I felt the data science actually started booming, the 2016s and 17s. Now also it is booming, daily new things are coming, but that was the time it was picking up the pace, and the certifications and the courses started coming in the market.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the time when I would say the courses on YouTube and Udemy actually started picking up the pace.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, if you see, I started working from 2014, and I think
Mm-hmm.
before that the online material was very less. So 2017 or 18, on I think around that time frame, I decided, okay, I should also look at this, what exactly is it, and if it is
Yeah.
something interesting, I can also try my hands on.
Mm-hmm.
So I started looking at some data science courses. One of my friend, who also transitioned within Fidelity
Mm-hmm.
from a regular software engineer role to a data science role,
Mm-hmm.
helped me with some of the courses on Udemy, on
Mm-hmm.
Coursera.
Mm-hmm.
So that time, these things are very popular.
Yeah.
Udemy and Coursera, Andrew NG courses, and these ones are
Mm-hmm.
very popular. So I
Mm-hmm.
did that. Then I did some NLP courses, some deep learning courses.
Yeah.
Then the same friend told me, why don't you, solve problems on Kaggle?
Mm.
Because what happens is, if you have to add some value or some impact on your resume, you need to have some project there. You
Yeah.
can't just say, you have done this certification, because what you can also do is just play through the video. uh, well, that also can be done, but
Yeah.
so my friend said, why don't you do some projects from Kaggle? So
Mm-hmm.
if I remember correctly, I did around 4 to 5 projects from Kaggle. The
Okay.
very famous one that time was survivors on the Titanic
Right.
ship. I
Right.
think that time, I will say that all the data scientists would start from here. And
Mm-hmm.
then there was some other San Francisco crime problem,
Mm-hmm.
absenteeism at work. There were like 5, 6 different problems I did, and then I added on my resume. Uh, so this is where I will be very thankful to my company, that it
Mm-hmm.
promotes internal movements a lot.
Okay.
It will let you excel in your careers. They provide you, these Udemy courses, Coursera courses, and other LinkedIn Learning, and many other such things,
Yeah.
which you can do to upskill yourself.
Yeah.
And if you try to make a move, there's nobody holding you back there.
Mm.
So which for me was very helpful. So I started looking within Fidelity.
Okay.
I tried, I applied in some 5, 6 different jobs,
Mm-hmm.
and there was one team which was looking for I would say, mid-level data scientists with
Mm-hmm.
good amount of data knowledge as well, which I had,
Yeah.
because I initially said I worked a lot on the data. So they said
Yeah.
it will be a mix of data science and data analytics role.
Yeah.
Will you be okay? I said, yeah, fine. And then I gave interview, and uh, the best thing that I did was, I learned the basics, and
Mm.
probably, which I can talk about later in the podcast, the very
Mm-hmm.
basics of the machine learning, not something very fancy, not the fancy deep learning and all that time, but the very basics of machine learning. I was very thorough with that, and I
Yeah.
think that helped me in getting that job.
Yeah.
But the next step, like when I actually started working on the problems, what I
Mm.
realized is, what I have learned so far from the
Mm.
courses,
Hmm.
is very different than the actual real world problems when I start working on it. But that
Yeah.
is where the collaboration helps. You talk to your colleagues, you get to know
Yeah.
about things, how
Yeah.
they are approaching the problem, you try solving, and
Yeah.
the Google and Stack Overflow, they also come to your rescue.
Yeah.
So that is it there. And also, see, now when you compare thing from that time to today a lot of material is available online,
Mm-hmm.
not just Udemy, Coursera. You can do, I think almost all the leading universities or college are providing the data science degree, the 1 year 2 year program.
Right.
What is that, the University of Texas is providing
Right.
with Great Lakes. Then I think almost all the IMs are providing, IITs are providing, Georgia Tech,
Mm-hmm.
everyone is giving you, not giving you, I mean, they have some programs which you
Mm.
can do
Mm.
along with your regular work. And yeah, once you have finished that journey, you can try and venture into the data science world. But at my time, the competition wasn't that cutthroat.
Mm.
uh, this much online material was not available, I will say.
Yeah.
Some courses were there, but not all these universities were providing
Mm. Mm.
the
Mm.
data science
Makes
courses.
sense. Mm.
So I made a switch using these courses. But let's
Yeah.
say somebody who is not into data science today
Yeah.
wants to make a switch,
Mm-hmm.
then what I will say is uh, learn some basics and then enroll
Mm.
into one of these courses,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and then it will really help you. And
Mm.
do not just stop there. Let's say what happens is, see, sometimes these courses will say we will help you in placement, but
Mm.
that they might not really able to.
Yeah.
And I know people who have taken these courses. See, it is not like regular IIT course where they will bring in a lot of companies for you.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the current job market is not so good. So what I
Mm-hmm.
will say is keep on practicing, and slowly you shall be able to crack into data science. I know one of my friends who moved from regular, I will say, from database administration to data science role
Yeah.
at
Mm-hmm.
8.5 years of experience. And
Mm-hmm.
when he told me he is planning to do that, I said, why do you want to do? Why don't you try data analytics? That is still closer to the database administration which you were doing.
Yeah.
Why data science now? It has become very competitive market. It will be slightly difficult, but he cracked it.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is, you just don't give up.
Yeah.
Start will be, see, there are n number of certifications, 1 year 2 year courses available. So
Yep.
I will suggest is go through it, because
Mm-hmm.
if you will not, one of your competitor would be taking up that course.
Sure. Sure.
And if you apply and your competitor applies there, obviously he, even if you have more knowledge, but he will have an edge over you, because he has that degree on the resume, that
Yeah.
graduated MTech from, or post graduation from IIT Hyderabad,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
IIT Kanpur, IIT Delhi. So
Yeah.
you do
Makes
those
sense.
courses,
Mm-hmm.
and then you try. I think it should work.
Okay.
It will
Mm-hmm.
happen.
Okay. That's very helpful, Siddharth. Now, you mentioned earlier that when you started working as a data scientist, right, you noticed that what the courses were covering and what is inside a real project is quite different. What is the difference? Could you help us understand? What is that gap?
See, this is what I felt when I moved from college to the real world.
Yeah.
The curriculum is always slightly outdated.
Yeah.
When I moved from college to here, the SQLs that I learned and the SQLs that I had to write in the firm, they were, I would say 10 or 100 times more difficult here.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the college curriculum, they will just teach you the programming language. There are n number of other things that come
Mm-hmm.
with programming that
Yeah.
you should know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, very important thing is version control
Mm.
using Git and these things. So that time when I joined Fidelity, there was something called as uh, clear case. That is also one of the version control tool
Mm.
that was
Mm.
used, and then slowly we moved to Git. So
Mm-hmm.
these things are not taught in college. You have to learn. So same thing is
Yeah.
here. When I did this course
Mm-hmm.
from Udemy, they taught you the basics of machine learning, taught you the
Yeah.
basics of NLP.
Mm.
That if I don't want to go very technical, but when you have to represent a text in numbers, so there are multiple ways. It is called as creating embeddings.
Yeah.
So the very basics ones were TF, IDF, and count vectorizer. So they are basically calculate using how many times a word is there, using the count
Mm-hmm.
of the words in a sentence or in a paragraph.
Mm.
Now that is not something very accurate.
Mm.
So when I use those techniques in my project, the results weren't very great. So then
Mm-hmm.
I got to know, okay, that time, yeah, there was some other things like Google Word to Vec, Doc to Vec. These things are coming up now.
Yeah.
Nobody uses these things as well.
Yeah.
Slowly, some other things came, like
Mm-hmm.
BERT and GPT, and now every now and then some other LLMs are coming up. So what I'm saying is, maybe I did wrong course, but most of the beginners would do those courses as well. But what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say is, almost all the time these courses will tell you very generic problem to solve.
Yeah. Yeah.
They will just create a skeleton.
Hmm.
They will just provide you with some basic concepts. After that, you
Hmm.
have to explore the real world on your own. So this is where, like I said, I talked to people. They said, okay, why don't you try that? Why don't you
Yeah.
try this approach? And
Right.
then I googled. So these things, nobody will really teach you. You
Yeah.
have to explore. You have to do hit and try. Okay,
Yeah.
now let me see this model. Let me see this embedding. What
Yeah.
works better? So
Yeah.
all of these things can't be taught in a
Hmm.
classroom or on a
Hmm.
YouTube or on a Udemy course.
Makes
Maybe
sense.
the current courses which are of 1 or 2 year duration, in that they can teach you, because like I said, it's a 1 or 2 year duration course.
Yeah.
But in a 15 or 19-hour course, they can't teach you all these things.
Right. Makes sense. That comes largely from the experience and interacting with your colleagues and peers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And as you went through your career, right? Now you started as a data scientist, lead data scientist, principal data scientist, which you are right now. What has changed as you have kind of gotten these promotions and become more senior in your role?
See, it is, I'll say, more on the responsibility side. Uh, when you are a lead data scientist, or when you are a principal data scientist, basically the team that I'm part of, or even let's say one level above me, director data scientist,
Mm-hmm.
it is always that you will be working on the project.
Mm.
Here, I mean, it's not like you have a team or you are working in a team. It is you are responsible for the work that you are doing.
Mm.
But it is basically the type of the work, the initiatives that you're taking. So let's say if I'm a lead data scientist, I'm just working on a project,
Mm.
and if I do some initiative, well and good. But
Mm.
let's say now I'm a 10-year experienced data scientist, a principal data scientist. So other than my project work, I'll have to take up some new initiatives. I'll have to brand my project well. I have to show it better to the leadership team.
Yeah.
Now let's say I go one level up, I'm a director data scientist now, so then things are slightly more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Or you let's say you work on a use case. Now you go and convince business that this is
Mm-hmm.
something good for you. So
Yeah.
that is how the responsibilities will change. You
Yeah.
will be owning that project,
Mm.
but other than that project, there are different set of responsibilities that comes at different levels. And I
Right.
think it is uh, common across companies. It is not
Mm-hmm.
specific to one company. As and when you grow, you have to take up new initiatives.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say
Yeah.
uh, when I'm a lead data scientist, I can just do my own work. Now or probably after my next promotion, it will not just be a work. I have to take probably sessions in the
Mm.
business unit or at a company level.
Yeah.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
it, organize some boot camps,
Yeah.
organize some hackathons.
Mm-hmm.
These things will come into picture then,
Right. Mm-hmm.
and that will be the the X factor.
Yeah. Okay. And when you think of the like an end-to-end data science or a machine learning project, right? And then this emerging technology of LLMs. So, which part of a end-to-end project do you think LLMs will slowly start becoming good at, so that data scientists can probably focus on other things? Um,
Yeah, see, like when I will slightly come to this question, to the answer of this question 1 minute later. But what happens
yeah.
is, when you talk to someone who hasn't entered the data science world, or who has
Mm,
just entered, what they
mm,
think as a data scientist, people have to do,
mm,
uh, people have to just develop models all the time, which is
mm,
not really the case.
mhm.
There are The development of model is around 10% of the 15% of work.
Okay.
Where it starts from is understanding the requirement. That is a very important thing. Then data
Mm,
gathering, then EDA, which features are important, a lot of these things. And then the model development, then model
mhm.
validation. You try different set of models based upon use case. There is one model good in such certain scenarios, another one is not.
Yeah.
You try all these things, then basically your coding thing. Now initially you developed a model like this, then you basically do good quality coding, the creating modules and all these things, then
Yeah.
deployment, then
Mm,
validation. There are multiple set of steps involved.
mhm.
Now when it comes to LLMs, and probably what I have used them for my personal work. What I feel is you need to know what you have to do with the LLMs.
Mhm.
Uh, See, regular sentiment analysis and similarity, I don't think you really need LLMs for them. It can be done using the traditional ML, and probably it will help you there as well. But
Mhm.
where I think you should use them is the fields, mm, the tasks which you could not do using traditional ML, or you could do, but they weren't really, the best results are coming from them,
Mhm.
like summarization of text.
Mhm.
So nowadays, these GPT models and all, the large language models or the generative AI models, they give you such good summary of the text
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
which wasn't possible 2 years, 3 years back. Now, if
Yeah.
I remember, basically there are two types of summarization. One is called as extractive, another one is called as abstractive.
Mhm.
Extractive is, let's say, if you give a paragraph, it will just
Yeah.
extract some 5, 10 key lines. Not a paragraph, it's a 2, 3 pages. It will extract
Yeah.
3, 4 key lines or 5, 6 key lines from them and
Mhm.
then give it
Mhm.
to you as it is.
Right.
Abstractive is which could be done earlier.
Yeah.
Abstractive is where it reads the entire paragraph,
Mhm.
understands it, develops
Mhm.
a knowledge. Okay, what is being said in all these paragraphs
Mhm.
or in these pages? Then it generates a summary.
Yeah.
The words will
Mhm.
be, or the sentences will be different. It will not be like, uh, that same sentence is present in the actual document as well.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
these things were not possible earlier. It is
Okay.
possible now
Mhm.
using these generative AI things,
I see.
or the models.
Mhm.
uh, Other than that is the extraction task.
Mhm. Mhm.
uh, Now, earlier, I mean, let's say, I took part in some Kaggle competition. There was
Mhm.
some bit of extraction thing that I had to do,
Okay.
and you will use traditional, regex and these things. So those things would be very much rules based.
Yeah. Yeah.
But here, you can just provide the input to these LLMs, and
Mhm.
it will do a very good extraction. The only
Yeah.
thing that you have to focus is how you are asking the LLM,
Mhm.
which is where the art of prompt engineering comes.
Right. Right. Got it.
So what you asked me is, I mean, I don't know if the answer is really relevant to that, but what I'm saying is, when it comes to do any task using LLM,
Mhm.
you should know what you have to do, and the other thing will be the art of writing the prompt. There are
Right.
certain ways that you have to write the prompt. It's not like you just say do this, do that.
Yeah.
There has to be a way, and there are
Mhm.
different, types of prompting, like chain of uh, thought prompting, few shot prompting, active prompting. There are different set of promptings which are there,
Yeah.
and there are, I think, courses available
Right.
online which you can do to learn to
Yeah.
get the best
Yeah.
possible results.
Yeah.
uh, and these are the places where I have used LLM. Now, in a data science project, you could use it at some other level as well,
Yeah.
but I have not used it there, so I cannot comment.
Understood.
But this
And
is where I have used. So yeah.
got it. And see, in this context, when new candidates come into data science, right? Are there parts of traditional machine learning that they don't need to focus anymore because LLMs are will be better at those things? Or do you think focusing on those machine learning and statistics foundations are still very important?
I will say, you know as much more is will be better, because
Hmm.
let's say you only know about LLMs.
Yeah.
Okay, some GPT has come, this has come, and you don't know the basics. It is wrong. See,
Hmm.
what I will tell you. I mean, many of my friends who are into Java development and these
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So even when they have to interview someone who is 8 or 9 years of experience, they don't ask all these fancy framework questions. They
Hmm.
always ask the very basic questions.
Hmm.
What is around, which is around core Java, like
Hmm.
multi-threading, exception handling, memory management, these things. These
Yeah.
are the basics there. They don't
Hmm.
ask you questions, around the fancy, I don't know which are the latest framework, Spring Boot and all these things.
Hmm.
They'll
Hmm.
always grill you on the very basic thing. The
Hmm.
same thing is here. Even though the job description says Gen AI or it doesn't say Gen AI, you have to know the basics. You
Yeah.
have to know what is a regression model, what is a classification model,
Hmm.
how you evaluate a model.
Hmm.
There are different metrics for that: RMSE, MSE, R square for regression models, and for classification you have F1 score, recall, precision. You should know when you have to use which one.
Yeah.
Other than that, there will be many scenarios when a company doesn't want to, or because of the sensitivity of the data, they can't
Mm.
use LLMs.
Mm-hmm.
They will be using the traditional ML things.
Right.
So that is why you should know all these things.
Mm-hmm.
Can I go a bit more deep into this answer,
Yeah,
if you are
please.
okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What happens is LLMs, you can access two ways. One is
Mm.
either via API, which a company is hosting on their side, and you access it using API. Second one
Mm-hmm.
is you host it internally in your within your environment.
Yeah.
If the data is publicly available, you can
Mm-hmm.
access those things.
Mm-hmm.
You can access the LLM using the API. It is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say
Mm-hmm.
there is a sensitive data. You
Mm-hmm.
can't send it over, using an API. So you
Mm-hmm.
have to host it, that LLMs internally.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the problem here can be the speed,
Mm-hmm.
because it is a big model running there. There's a, you don't know what all things are going on behind that.
Right.
So sometimes, for simple tasks, it could be taking more time than what a traditional ML model would take.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'll again go back to the same thing. Use it for tasks which you could not do using the traditional ML.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing what comes is the explainability.
Mm.
Let's say you have a business partner who doesn't know much of data science, and you
Mm-hmm.
tell them that my model predicted this. He will ask why it predicted this.
Right.
Now there it could be difficult for you because you don't know, it's a black box. What is going on there? This is called as explainable AI.
Yeah.
But if you have to use a decision tree, it will be very
Mm-hmm.
easy for you. Or you have used a support vector machine. It will be very easy
Mm-hmm.
for you to explain
Explain.
why it predicted what it predicted.
Right. Right.
So
Makes sense.
that is why I will say,
Mm-hmm.
there's no harm in learning Gen AI. It is definitely, the most revolutionary thing which has happened. You
Yeah.
should know, but don't forget the basics,
Yeah.
because if I have to interview, I will. First thing I will look at you is, if you know the basics of machine learning or
Basics.
not, how you will
Mm-hmm.
pick up, how you will do feature engineering, how you will do dimensionality reduction, because
Yeah.
these are more important things. Uh, how will you evaluate a classification model, bias
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
variance trade-off? These are very core concepts of machine learning, which I will be first looking at,
Yeah.
and not I will just not directly jump to Gen AI. If I know in my project there is a requirement of Gen AI, then that will be my second level of evaluation. Then I will ask, okay, what kind of LLMs have you used,
Right.
and how do you uh, use it? If it is a via API, or you host it internally, and then you use, what kind of tasks you have done
Yeah.
on these generative AI LLMs. Then I
Mm-hmm.
will ask these things. But the basics come first, I think, which is
That's,
true in not just data science, in all the world.
yeah.
Basics
No, I
matters.
agree. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's very well said. The simple things I think people tend to forget and complicate it with more advanced stuff. Before we started the podcast, you were telling me that hundreds of people reach out to you on LinkedIn to get career advice and things like that. Could you help us understand what do they usually ask you? Some tips for these people who reach out to you on LinkedIn. Are there better kinds of requests they should be coming to you with?
Uh, See, if somebody is reaching out to me, definitely, I mean, for a job or a referral, I know he or she is definitely looking for it and hasn't been able to get. That is why. So they have some problem. That is why they are reaching out to me. There's nothing wrong, but I have seen a change recently, that
Mm-hmm.
all the people who reached out to me, and within in 2024, like you mentioned the number, I said around 100 people did reach out to me, and
Mm-hmm.
all of them were just asking, how to get into data science world, or can I help them into getting a data science internship or data science job.
Mm-hmm.
Most of these people were either freshers, or they were about to complete their college. When I say
Mm-hmm.
freshers, means 1 year experience or one and a
Mm-hmm.
half year experience, or they were in their third years looking for internships. So I have seen a shift when I was preparing for engineering. I
Yeah.
would see the most in demand bachelor degree was Bachelor of Technology, or BE.
Mm-hmm.
You have interest, you don't have interest, you just opt for that in India.
Right.
Then I saw, okay, I think 2014 or after that, I saw everyone is just taking IT, because they saw, okay, in IT people are jumping and switching jobs and getting good salaries. So everyone was like, okay, IT is the best field. Then people were the civil and biotechs and these branches. The seats will not get full.
Yeah.
Uh, if there are 60 seats, most people would just go for 30 and all. I mean, not many, takers were there for it. Then of lately, what I'm seeing is forget about this software engineering. Everyone just wants to get into the data science world.
Right.
I mean, okay, I could be wrong here. The other person could be right. What I'm saying is, let's say if I don't have a job, and right now the market scenario is not that great. You would know, not a lot of companies are doing hiring. In fact, there was a news that I think till March, only some 52, 54% of IIT Bombay grad students were placed.
I see. Okay.
Fourth year, so which was not a very good number, considering it's IIT Bombay, which is best for the placements in country, which is not a good number. So if in that scenario I was there, I would be first looking for a job rather than a very specific data science or data science internship or data science job. And these days, almost all the good companies, they will help you with mobility. So if you are very focused in your career for data science, it is fine. But let's say if you're very desperate, if you very desperately need a job, I will say don't be hell bent on getting a data science job. First, get something which is available there, because in my company there was so many other jobs that I could refer those people for at a fresher level. There were no data science jobs or fresher level, but I could have referred them for those jobs. But they were like, no, I really want to get into a data science job. I have done some certifications, this that. So I couldn't really help them. But my advice would be, if it is when market is not that great outside, first try to get into something. And once you are there, you keep on upgrading yourself. You keep on upskilling. Like I said, there are a number of courses, 1 or 2 year courses. You get into those courses, and then probably 2 or 3 years down the line, you can go into the data science world. When you are 3 year or 4 year experience, and when somebody hires you, they know that you are a beginner. They will not expect many things from you compared to when somebody is a 10 or 15 year experience. So right now, let's say if I want to change my job to something else, a role to something else, it is not that easy, probably impossible now. But it is easy for you to do a 2 or 3 year experience. So what I'm saying is, first get a job, then try within that company, then or you do some course. It is always possible. So don't be so hell bent. I have to get into data science or nothing.
Makes sense.
Other than that, there are many other emerging fields these days, very close to data sciences. Like I will not say very close, but you will require some of the skills which you learn in data science in this field, which is called as ML ops as well. And on many companies' career side, there will be jobs. These are usually written as a machine learning engineer or ML ops roles. So you can apply for those things. ML ops is nothing but like DevOps for software engineering. So this is the parallel I can draw. ML ops is for data science world. So here you will need to know the concepts of machine learning in ML ops world. Another important emerging technology or field is the cloud, AWS, Azure, Oracle Cloud, Google Cloud. All these things are there. So you can explore those fields, and as well, it is very in demand technology. And you would also know that many of the organizations are planning to get rid of the on-prem things, and they're planning to migrate to AWS if the data is not very sensitive. So they are always planning to do that. So it is a very in-demand thing that you can explore. Then again, very close to, not probably very close, but still kind of close to data science is the analytics world. You can explore that. Again, here also there was some person who asked me, can I get some data science job? I was like, see, right now there's an analytics thing. Can I help you with this? He was like, no, I want to get into pure deep learning and this, that, modeling development. Sadly, I could not help him. So, there are many other things. There is cyber security as well. You can try that line. So there are a lot of things. Full stack development, try that. It's a very in demand thing. Full stack development, they get paid really well. They can quickly switch. It's a very in demand technology currently in market. So I mean, all these things are there, and I know my friends who are into these cloud or full stack or ML ops, and they're doing great in their lives. So these are also avenues which they can look at. Not just data science. Don't just limit to data science. See, what will happen is everyone comes into this world, then it will lose the charm. And I think what charm it had in 2017 is probably not the same it has right now.
Got it. I think you have a consistent message, which is uh, focus on the basics, focus on the fundamentals. Don't go run towards the so-called hot areas. Focus on getting
I
a
mean, you
good
should
job.
know. I'm not denying. You should
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
But what happens is, see, in the end, you see, okay. Let me just. I'll not name anyone, but during my college days, see, in our
Yeah.
college, the companies would come like Core. Sorry, what is that? Mass, Core, and
Mm.
Dream. So what it was like, you can take two job offers,
Hmm.
any two. Okay.
Yeah.
So some people who were very good, very smart, they were like, I will not be sitting for mass companies at all.
Mm.
Otherwise, if I get selected, mass means
Mm.
service based company, my one of my attempt will get wasted, and then
Hmm.
I'll have only one attempt. So they
Yeah.
were like, no, I'll only sit into core or the dream ones,
Dream.
so that I get a job in those good companies.
Hmm.
After one semester, I mean after 7 semesters, they realized they're not getting into core or dream.
Mm.
Then they started looking, okay, let me secure some job first, let me secure
Mm.
one mass job, then I can try another attempt for core or dream.
Yeah.
So if you try to draw a parallel or try to draw analogy here, what I'm saying
Mm-hmm.
is, first get a job,
Mm-hmm.
then you can try for data science or ML ops or any such thing. First
Right.
try to get a job, otherwise
Mm-hmm.
you might end up wasting some time.
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense.
You don't
So,
deny, okay, this company is paying just 5 lakh or 6 lakh, I'll not go there.
right.
Just secure something. See, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
These are, there are no right or wrong answers for these are just matter of perception. Somebody saying, okay, I'll not have a plan B, I'll always have a plan A. These kind of things you will see in motivational talks on YouTube, and
Yeah.
all. Never have plan B if you want to focus on plan A. So
Yeah.
which is also right, but
Mm-hmm.
you see, your situation, your family responsibilities, what all is there.
Yeah.
If you think job is more important, you first get into a job, then switch to data science. If you think you have a
Okay.
lot of time, you directly start hunting for the data science job.
Understood. And just one final question to that is that when you interview people for roles, right, what do you wish they had more of? What are they mostly lacking from your experience?
See, I mean, I might have slightly covered this question earlier when
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned what should people, uh, if they should learn traditional ML or not.
Yeah.
I
Right.
slightly covered this thing, but what I'll say is, when I interview someone, I again, I might be giving a similar answer. I don't look at very hi-fi concepts.
Okay.
What I look at is, and usually in resume they have three, four sections. One is basic details, contact and all, then aim, then the tech skills, and lastly the projects. So
Yeah.
I just look at the projects, and I usually ask them to explain their project and their role
Mm-hmm.
in that.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is a very basic evaluation.
Mm.
If what I feel is, if somebody has worked on a project, they'll be
Yeah.
able to explain to me,
Right.
not just me, to anyone basically. If somebody has not worked, he has just tagged along with someone in a project, they will not be
Right.
able to.
Right.
Because what I find is, okay, when someone starts explaining me a project, if he or she is not able to from the very beginning, then I know, okay, he has not done anything. Then comes the other level of person who are able to explain me in a summary, okay, this is what the project did, and this that. Then they tell their contribution. If I ask like slightly technical things and they are not able to, these are the second level who actually did something, but probably you know not much contribution. Then there are third category who are very confident about what they have done.
Yeah.
So my main say would be is, write only those things on your resume that you can explain, and that is what
Mm-hmm.
I do. And
Mm.
sometimes it can be wrong. Wrong in a way is, let's say the job that you're applying to, it is asking for a very hi-fi level thing. So
Mm.
and you are mentioning your basic projects,
Mm-hmm.
you might not get shortlisted. But let's say in case if you did get,
Mm.
so you have not lied anything on your resume, and you'll be pretty confident when you have to answer things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have written only those projects on my resume where I have contributed significantly,
Got it.
uh, which I am very sure I'll be able to explain. I don't write
Mm-hmm.
anything that I just read once 3 years back, and just to add more content on my resume, let me add it. No, my resume is just one page.
Yeah.
So keep it very crisp. Uh, Mention only those things which are which you are pretty confident about,
Mm.
and other than that, there's some more things, and this is, I'm very specifically talking about the data science world.
Yeah.
Uh, when I did this courses, so what I felt is data science, or I did not, maybe some other people, what they felt is, or they had discussion with me, is coding really important in data science?
Mm-hmm.
It is. I mean, the data science is culmination of maths and coding.
Mm-hmm.
So you should not be like, okay, I only know the maths, I don't know coding, it will not work. Or I only know coding, okay, I can code in Java, so I can code in Python, I don't need to learn the maths. It's not that way as well. You should know how a decision tree works. You should know how a random forest works, or XGBoost works, or gradient boosting. These kind of concepts, the maths, you need to know, and you need to know the Python coding. There are very, if not fully, learn some basics of object oriented programming. This for the people who want to enter into the data science world. Learn the basics of object oriented programming, especially in Python. Learn NumPy, learn Pandas, Matplotlib. These are the basic libraries that people should know. And don't just stop there. Try to solve some problems on lead code. What happens is, let's say you apply to some good company, they will probably just not judge you on the data science skills. They will also try to test your coding skills as well. How good you are at coding. Some data structure coding will be there. So try practicing on lead code. This is one of the best platform. You can try on lead code, upgrade your coding skills. You should know how to write a function, how to do a modularized coding. These basic things you should know. And other than that, like I said, the basics of ML you should know. It should not be like, okay, you leave the maths, you leave the coding, you left everything, you are just directly jumping to the GenAI and let me just learn some things around the GPT and Bard and these things, Gemini model. It will not work that way. You should know this is a good to have thing, but basics should be there. That is a must to have.
Okay.
So always focus on the basics. Always, and again, the basic here is not just the concepts. The basic here is the Python coding as well.
Got it.
You don't want to Google for each and everything.
Correct.
You have to write a function and you know what you have to do, but you don't know the syntax. You don't want to Google each and everything. I'm not saying learn each and every syntax, but you should know how to do certain things. You don't want to go and Google, okay, how to do this, how to do that, or ask Chat GPT how to do this, how to do that. These things you should know. Certain complex things, there are some complex algorithms for that, you use it, but for each and every things you shouldn't be using Google. So basics should be clear, and then these GenAI and these things you should definitely try them as well. Otherwise, you will be lagging behind if you don't know this. You can't say that I know the basics, so I am safe. It is not like that as well. You have to keep upgrading yourself.
Yeah. Makes sense, Siddharth. It has been very, very helpful. Thank you so much for taking time to share your career journey and advice for others on this.